Hello YouTube. Today I'll be doing a review of the iPhone 17. I'm going to be telling you guys about my experience using the phone for the past 2 weeks that I've owned it. And I'm going to also be comparing it to the 16 that I had prior to this and giving you guys my opinion about what I think, how it compares to the 16. So let's start off with the design. When it comes to the design, it's very similar to the 16. It has the same action button, camera control button, the same dual camera layout, the same speaker grill layout, the same USB-C port. So overall, the back is completely identical to the 16. What I will say though is I do prefer the black on the 16 over the black on the 17. This black is kind of a charcoal, like dark gray color. It's not black per se. The black on the 16 is definitely nicer in my opinion. But this is growing on me by the day, but I think I do prefer the black on the 16. And also the black on the 16 blends better with the thin bezels. So I think if this had a black, back and aluminum sides, it would blend extremely well and look like a super nice phone. But it still looks great. I just wish it was pitch black like my previous 16. Another way this is different from my 16 is the front has thinner bezels, like I mentioned before. These bezels are significantly thinner than on the 16, making the phone look more premium and more like pro-like. Let me turn off my low power mode. So that's something I do enjoy a lot about this phone is the super thin bezels. It makes watching YouTube videos or anything like that super nice. You can see
Apple invited me to check out the new iPhone 17 before it goes public, and these colors are so nice. The lavender is
it's nice just being able to watch a full screen video and not think about the bezels a lot.
Honestly, this blue and sage ones are my
so I think
favorite.
it's pretty much similar to the iPhone 16 as far as design. Very similar. I have no complaints with the design at all. It's premium. Everything is great on the phone. It feels strong and durable. It's just, obviously it's a little bigger than the 16. So it's a 6.3 inch display versus a 6.1 inch on the 16, which is a pretty substantial upgrade because it gives you more screen real estate to watch videos and things like that. Speaking more on the display, the 17 also has a 120 hertz refresh rate, while the 16 has a 60 hertz refresh rate. This is also a variable refresh rate, meaning that it goes from 1 hertz to 120 hertz. So yeah, I mean the 120 hertz is definitely noticeable. I do feel like this phone is super fast. It feels great to use. Android phones have had 120 hertz displays for a while now, and just seeing the base iPhone have this display quality is extremely good and great to have. So I have no complaints at all when it comes to the display. Another thing I want to say about the display is that it's super bright outside. I think this display has 3,000 nits of brightness, which is extremely good outdoors. But I think in order to unlock those 3,000 nits, you have to have auto brightness on in order to be able to really maximize the brightness on the display. Here's a look at how the brightness looks outside. Right up against the sun. As you can see, the phone is very readable. At this time recording this footage, the brightness was all the way up. You can see the phone is very visible. I did not have on the auto brightness, so it wasn't maximized to 3000 nits, but it was still pretty bright. Like I said before, the ProMotion is super nice. It also has the higher brightness than the 16. Another thing I wanted to mention too is that the screen is more scratch resistant than the 16. This has a higher grade ceramic shield, which basically means it's like, I think it's like 3 times more scratch resistant than the 16. So far, these past few weeks, I don't see any scratches on here. Holds up pretty well. You guys tell me if you guys see any scratches. So yeah, the phone has been holding up pretty well. The display looks great till now. So there's very little to complain about. This phone also has the new always on display, which is something that the 16 didn't have. Honestly, I don't use the always on display. You know, I just find it pointless. When I want my phone off, I like it off. You know, when I want it on, I want it on. You know, I think the only time the always on display would be useful is when you have your phone set aside and you're just like, you know, doing something on your laptop, and then you go back onto the phone and just take a glance at the phone and, you know, look at the time or something like that, or your notifications. Honestly, I think you'll be good without the always on display. So what else can I say? All right, so going into the battery life of the phone, the phone has great battery life. I think it does have better battery life than my 16. You know, I'm ending the day around like 30%, which is pretty good. I mean, I do also turn off the liquid glass interface, I guess, on the phone, which I don't mind doing because I never really use liquid glass and I don't really like it. It kind of just makes my my notifications look kind of weird. So I prefer not having liquid glass on. And let me go ahead and turn it on for you guys. So the way you turn it on is, the way you turn it off when it's on is you basically turn on reduce transparency. So right now it's using liquid glass, and you can see, I'll show you guys. This is how it looks like. It's pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, it looks good sometimes. You know, when you're browsing the web, CNN.com. So it looks pretty good. You see how it kind of like blends in here? It's see how it kind of looks kind of see-through. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You can see the background right here. It's a pretty cool interface, don't get me wrong, but personally, I prefer just turning it off. I don't really use it a lot, and I kind of like the way the previous Apple ecosystems looked prior to this iOS 26 upgrade. So I'm all set with the liquid glass being turned off. So yeah, what else? So like I was mentioning before, the battery life is pretty good. Even without the low power mode on, it's still pretty good. It lasts all day, nothing to complain about. Yeah, so nothing to really complain about as far as the battery life. I like it a lot. So when it comes to the camera, that's something that I wanted to mention too. This 17 has two 48 megapixel cameras. The main camera and the wide angle camera are both 48 megapixels, so they have super high resolution. while on the 16, the main camera is 48 megapixel, but the ultra wide camera is 12 megapixels, which is pretty good too, being a 12 megapixel camera, but it's not gonna be as sharp as the iPhone 17's 48 megapixel camera. So it's a little bit sharper and higher resolution when taking photos. When it comes to the front-facing camera, the front-facing camera on this is it's also 48 megapixels, while on the 16, sorry guys, I'm kind of stuttering a little bit, but on the 16, it has a 12 megapixel front-facing camera. So this has a 48 megapixel here on the 17, which basically means it has a wider angle front-facing camera for taking selfies and things like that, which is super good. Yeah, let me go into the interface, switch the camera. As you can see my phone recording. I'm actually recording on the 16 right now, which is super cool, but you see how it zooms out and shows everything. It's a pretty cool thing that Apple added there. So yeah, I mean, the camera on the 16 was great before. I had no complaints, but I think this has a better front-facing camera for sure. It's definitely crisper, more high resolution. I remember the first day I got the phone, I actually snapped a photo of myself, and I was surprised by how good the front-facing camera was. So yeah, overall, the front-facing camera is pretty good. When it comes to the performance of the phone, the 17 has an A19 chip, which basically means it's more powerful than the A18 chip that was on the 16, but it's minor. You're not really gonna notice too much. I think what really matters more here is the high refresh rate. I think having a really high refresh rate on this phone is really helpful. I think that's my favorite part of owning this phone, is the high refresh rate. I remember I had a iPhone 13 Pro in the past, and it had a 120 hertz refresh rate, and it was super fast, super liquidy, but the battery life was not that good. So I'm pretty surprised that this has such great battery life, being 120 hertz. And also not being as big as my 13 Pro Max from before. So this has pretty good battery life. It lasts all day. What else can I say about this? Yeah, I mean, the A19 chip definitely does a good job making sure that the phone is cool and extremely power efficient as well. So I definitely like that. Yeah, when it comes to gaming, just open up a game here. Phone is super smooth. The 120 hertz refresh rate definitely helps. Games feel a lot smoother than on the 16. You can see I'm playing Subway Surfers, super smooth, no lags at all. Super smooth. This actually makes me want to play games. I don't usually play games on my phone, but because of how smooth this is, I've been getting back into gaming, like games like Dead Trigger. Super smooth. Very little complaints. Let me just play a quick match for you guys, so you guys can see how smooth it is. No, I don't like that one. All right, let's do operations. So as you can see how smooth that is? Super liquidy, super smooth. Oh yeah, this has to be one of the smoothest gameplay I've ever played on a phone. It's definitely smoother than on the 16. I mean, the 16 didn't lag either, but this is just that much more smoother because of the 120 hertz refresh rate. Let me get this little piggy right here. Yeah, I'm just letting you guys see how it's like to game so you guys can know what it's like. Pretty nice here. So yeah, I mean, the phone is overall very fast and smooth. I definitely think it was worth upgrading from the 16. For me, I was able to trade in my phone for the 17, so I didn't mind doing that. If you own a 16, you don't necessarily need an upgrade unless you really want the thinner bezels and the 120 hertz refresh rate and the, better front-facing camera. I think those are the main upgrades with this. And also when comparing this to the 17 Pro, it's pretty much the same thing in my opinion. I can't really tell the difference. I couldn't really tell the difference at the store. Pretty smooth. Apart from the colors being different, this is a great overall phone. Very little to complain about. It's basically just as fast as the 17 Pro. Just the screen is just as good as the 17 Pro. Still has the 120 hertz refresh rate, OLED display. Still has the same PPI, like 460, I believe. So there's very little to complain about. The speaker is identical to the Pro. Still has the extra button that the Pro has. The only difference is that the Pro has a extra camera for the zoom in telephoto, I believe, camera, which I don't think you need that, honestly. But some people want it. Some professionals might need it. Overall, this phone is great. It's actually a very good deal. And yeah, that's my review of the phone. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for more content in the future. Here's some more footage of the phone. Just showing you guys what the black color looks like on the phone. As you can see, it's lighter, kind of dark gray, very dark gray. It's darker than the gray that I usually see on the space gray MacBooks, but it's still not as dark as the 16. As I said before, it is kind of a mixed bag as far as how I feel about this color, but overall, super nice phone. I will also be reviewing this phone versus the iPhone 16, 16 Pro, and other smartphones. So make sure you guys stay tuned to Tito's Tech for more content like this. Peace out.